Hello. The goal of this video is to show you how to improvise on a fun tune as quickly and with the most fun as possible for someone who's never even done it before. Yeah, for real. So I'm gonna hit play on a backtrack, which is the intro to Viva La Vida by Coldplay. I have it on the looper pedal. I made it before, so I'm just gonna hit that. So what we're doing, all that we're doing is remembering a certain collection of notes and sticking to them and dancing inside them however we want to. So these notes are kind of, I would say you could think of them in boxes. What I do is I imagine them in boxes kind of associated with one another, and you can jump from one box to another to make things more dynamic. So what I'm going to do, there's going to be a visual somewhere on the screen with kind of the visualization of these boxes, these collections of notes. What I'm going to do is just show them each note in each box and then jump around. So the first box is at the top of the neck, and if you're a beginner, what I would recommend is just picking one and sticking to it and not even doing any other boxes, just staying within one and bouncing around until you're comfortable with things like fast hammer-ons and moving up and down from string to string and whatever. So just bounce around within, for example, this first box here, which will probably be the easiest. So the first one, again, this is a collection of individual notes that all work with the backing track. The first one is just the open E. So it's open E and 3rd fret E, so that's G. So you see, I'm just using those two notes. It kind of fits. You do whatever you want with them dynamically in terms of timing or beat or whatever. It just works. Another one, there's another note you can throw in there, which is the 2nd fret. That one is it's not a major note since it's the 7th of the G scale. It's not major, so there's more like that. I'm gonna omit them on the first pass. We're not gonna do them on the first pass, just so we can just do the majors. I might make a few mistakes really, but the diagram should help. So you got open and then 3rd fret, and then open A string, 2nd fret. So that was just a little solo, just a little improvisation. I literally just bounced around between open A and open E. And the 3rd fret E and 2nd fret A string. So I hope that little demonstration is proof of how this is going to work. Now I'm going to, for the sake of time, I'm going to minimize the amount of improvising I'm doing, even though it's so fun. So then you're going to go to the D string. Again, open and 2nd fret. And then the G string, which is going to be open and 2nd fret again. And then the B string, which is going to be open and 3rd fret. And then finally the high E string, because it's an E, like the thickest string, it's going to be the same note, so it's going to be open and 3rd. So that was all. That little improvisation thing I just did was just bouncing around literally at random between those notes I showed. So the only thing really I could add on before we talk about those extra funky notes I mentioned that I omitted is that anytime you end on a G, the root note of the scale we're playing, it's going to sound really like you've resolved it. It's going to sound like you've come home and you're ready to rest. It's just over. So you've got the open G string, the 3rd thinnest string. on that G like like it just did. And it just wraps everything up nicely. So wherever we have a G note, that's good to end. So in the first box, you have the thickest string, 3rd fret, thinnest string, 3rd fret, and the open G string. All right, so that's the first box. If you're a beginner, you could honestly just stop the video right here. I'm gonna post another video that's just this loop going on in the back, and you can just do that stuff as much as you like until you're really comfortable. So now what I'm gonna do is go to the second box. So this is just gonna be the G major scale, really, the pentatonic. But so it's 3rd fret, 5th fret on the thickest string, and then on the 5th string, A string, 2nd and 5th. 3rd string, D string, 2nd fret and 5th fret, same as the last string. Now 4th string, B string, or G rather, 2 and 4. That's the G string, 2nd and 4th fret. Now the B string, 3rd and 5th. And the same thing on the high E. So the thickest E string, the thinnest E string, and the B string are all the same in terms of 3rd and 5th fret. And the other ones, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 4. So that's the second box, you might say, which is just a G major scale on the root note G. So I'll just improvise a bit there to show what it sounds like. So, third box. Okay, so what happened there? You have so 5th and 7th fret on the thickest E string, 5th and 7th fret again on the A string, 5th and 7th fret yet again on the D string, so we're changing it up now, going back one. On the G string. Now 8th and 5th, 8th fret and 5th fret on the B string. And then yet again, 5th and 7th fret on the high E. So that was the third box. Now up to the fourth box. Okay, so that's 7th and 10th on the thickest. Same, 7th and 10th on the A string. Then 7th and 9th on the G string, no, D. that's 7th and 10th. Alright, so now that was the 4th, I think. So the 5th box, the last box, brings us to the 12th fret, where from there on it's going to be a repeat of what we saw at the neck, because once you hit the 12th fret you're playing the octave, so everything is kind of the same in terms of note names. So the last box, alright, so that's 10th and 12th. Again, 10th and 12th on the A string. And now 9th and 12th on the G, or D rather. Same thing on the G. 9th and 12th. B string, 10th and 12th. And now, thickest string again, same as the thinnest. That's just 10th and 12th. Right? So those are your 5 boxes. Your 5 boxes, and once you get to the 12th fret, you repeat the first one. So instead of having the nut to close it all off, you have to put your finger there. Alright. So there's a bunch more notes you can slip in. I've touched one of them a couple of times, and I'll add those to the diagram. Those are basically not the major notes in the scale, but you can totally add them in for improvisation. So where they go, in the first box, 2nd fret and 3rd fret. 2nd fret, thickest string, 3rd fret of the A string. And then on the B string, you also have the 1st fret. And on the high E string, you also have the 2nd fret. Second box you can go back to that 2nd fret on the E string. You have the 3rd fret on the A string. You have the 4th fret on the D string. You have the 5th fret on the D string. No, sorry, G. And then B string is just what it is. I'm just finding them because sometimes I forget where they are, but you could just find them by sound. So you have the 2nd fret, again, on the low E string, and those were part of the previous box. So it's all connected. So 3rd box. low E string to the 8th fret. The A string, just leave it where it is. 5th and 7th. Now, the D string. You can go one back to the 4th fret. The G string. You don't need to just stay on the 4th and 7th, you can include the 5th. The B string. You can include the 7th. This is just the 5th and the 8th. That's the 7th. 7th fret. And on the high E string, you can go up to the 8th fret. Now, 4th box. As we mentioned on the previous one, you can include the 9th fret. And then you can include the 10th on the A string. And then you can include the 10th on the D string. Then you can include the 10th. Am I doing this right? Actually, the G string just stays where it is. But that B string, you can include that 7th fret. Then the high E string, same as the low E. Oops. Include that 8th fret if you want. And now the last box, just the 10th and 12th, like we originally talked about. And then the next one, you can go to the 9th fret, or the 10th rather. Sorry, the 9th. Then D string. You can go to the 10th. Then G string. Go to the 11th. B string. You can go to the 13th. High E string, we'll just keep it where it is. And that's pretty much everything I have to share. There's that entire collection of notes, and you can fly between them as much as you want. I feel like in terms of practicing, you obviously can't just go a million miles per hour right off the cuff. So what I found really worked was just getting to know each box, staying within a box, just first using the major notes, and then adding the other ones like the 7ths and stuff and making it more funky. And finally, you could experiment with sliding between boxes and eventually end up with the whole dynamic range available to you. the idea. I hope this helps. It all kind of clicked for me just recently. If you want to do more research, you could search things like pentatonic scale, key of G. And what I'll show you now is that the same principle applies for different songs. You just need to find, it depends on the complexity of the song. It's not going to work for every song, but it works for a bunch of songs. For example, I could change the loop over here. Let me make it like Get Lucky by Daft Punk. So this song, I'm pretty sure the root note, instead of being G, is A. So what this means is that we're using the same boxes, but they're just all in a different place. So as before, the G major, the G was over here, so the G scale was like... Ah, shit, this song is actually in G. It works just fine, but that just goes to show it works. Anyways, let me try a different song to prove that you just gotta change the position. I'll just make something up here. Okay. So, not to ruin my lesson plan with doing the wrong examples, but pretty much this I think is now a D. So the D is the root note here. I'm just playing a D, it kind of fits with everything. It's like the root note. So I find D on my thickest string, 10th fret. So that was like our box 2, but now it's all the way up here. So box 2 goes back to box 1. Box 1 can go back to box 5. Box 5 can go back to box 4. Back to box 5. Anyways, I hope this example is shown. And the song is in a key of whatever. You take that note whatever, you find it on your thickest string, and that's where your box 2 is. And the reason I call it box 2 and then just say, oh, that's box 1, that's where you gotta put everything, is just so that we can play with Viva La Vida by Coldplay, because it's so much fun to solo on top of. So I'll just do that for a minute again. Cheers. I hope this really helps.